Okay, guys, you can mute your mics. Let's just admit Mia. Sorry. Let's see. Morning, Mia.
Good morning.
Guys, let me just finish attendance. Mia. Okay, guys, you can mute your mics. Okay, guys, so today's lesson, I just want to quickly go for Cynthia as well on her behalf on the styling page. So we've done lesson 1 to 4, and you guys really need to try and have lesson 1 to 4's work done by tomorrow. So technically tomorrow it's the last day for lesson 4. Cynthia, I'll make a different arrangement for you because you kind of joined us a bit late, but everyone else really pace yourselves to have lesson 4 done by tomorrow, all these activities. Okay. Like I always say, if you guys really have an issue, for example, work was really hectic this week or whatever the case may be, just send me an email and then I'll make an arrangement with you. But I am going to close the links because we should try and be done with these activities. As I've said to you guys, it's better to put aside about 5 to 6 hours a week and get the work from that Saturday kind of done. Because today we are moving on to lesson 5, which is event 1. Okay, so I'm going to brief you guys on your event 1 and you kind of need to start with it. So all the course activities do count towards event 1. I'll show you guys the marking rubric. But yeah, it's really, really, really important. It's for your own sake. Like I said, when we get to the end of the course, which is the 19th of December, is your due date for both event 1 and event 2. You guys don't want to have to backtrack and redo activities, and they do count quite a lot towards event 1. So try and just keep up to date. So yeah, lesson 1 to 4. Important. If you haven't done lesson 1 yet, then skip it and start with lesson 2, 3, and 4. Those activities are really important. Okay, so I'm going to just swap screens, put my camera off. Just quickly want to open your brief, and I've also got examples for you guys, and this will also be on Moodle. In terms of what your kind of event 1 needs to look like, just so that you guys have a reference, not to copy what that student did, but just kind of to see what you need to complete. Yeah. Okay, guys, so this is your brief. Like I said, it is on Moodle. At the end, once I've gone through everything, I'll just show you again where you can find everything. So this assessment event is your course exercises, your online presentation of those on those submission links, and then fashion awareness research. So it very much deals with what we have been doing so far. In terms of looking at past eras. You guys did a timeline last week where you kind of had to map what happened in the 1910, 1920s, what were those key historical events, how did it influence fashion? So this is what your first event is going to be about, and your due date is the 19th of December. Okay, like I said, for both event 1 and 2, it's the 19th. You guys can obviously submit earlier. I do understand that our course ends quite late, okay, but because of the whole COVID situation, you know, cycle 2 is ending late. You guys are always welcome to submit earlier. I will also share the syllabus summary with you. That is just what happens every week. So you guys can see the last few weeks we're only spending on event 2. So you guys have the option to kind of submit it earlier. Yeah. So for this assessment event, you're required to complete all the short course online exercises, and that is kind of just to show your engagement with the practical work that we cover, okay? So you'll submit it to the Lysoft online platform. There are those links I provide to you guys every week. And then that is considered part A of event 1. So you have part A and then you have part B. Okay, so part A is all the online activities. I will go through that marking rubric with you just now. Okay, Then getting to part B, it's our fashion awareness research, and part B is divided into 2 sections, okay? Fashion research, with its close links to visual culture, encompasses many subjects, and students should engage with a diverse range of research across a variety of topics, okay? And this is where those online sources from the library is really going to benefit you guys, okay? Undertaking research is going to give you a broad picture of your subject and related areas, which will drive your work in innovative directions. Okay, so for the fashion awareness section of this brief, you're required to conduct research that's based on 2 specific topics. Okay, so your research is going to include visual and contextual, so typed out information, and it's split into 2 sections. The first section is looking at fashion history, and then the second section is looking at current trends, okay? So you're dealing with both those components. So for the fashion history section, what you are required to do is you need to select and research one, okay, only one 20th century period of fashion history. So you need to choose from the list below, either 1900 to 1910 or 1920s, 1950s, or 1960s. So you need to select one of those eras, okay? You guys have done the timeline, so I think some of you guys have already engaged with this idea of social and political context of that time. So what you need to do is, once you've decided on what period you are selecting, you need to go look at the social and political context of that era, okay? As well as the art and cultural movements that happened during the period that you choose, okay? So to answer the question, what did women and men wear during that time? It all depends on what they were doing, with whom, at what time of day. We've dealt with that, how kind of hemlines and all those things have changed, fabric through the era. So you guys really need to go and do a little bit of research in terms of that, okay? You will learn about types of clothing women and men wore for specific occasions. There was an outfit for every time of day, every type of outing, every type of party. Okay, so you guys are very much going to engage with the social political context. You're going to tell me what happened in that era, what happened during art and cultural movements, and how they influenced the 50s, 60s, 20s. And then we are moving on to the fashion. So what kind of clothing did people wear during what occasion? Okay. Okay, so in order to produce a coherent outcome, you guys need to follow this. So this is almost like your checklist to make sure you've covered everything, okay? So because fashion changes quite a lot within a space of a decade, okay, particularly during the later decades, it's a suggestion to either focus on the first 5 years of that period or the last 5 years. Okay, so say for example, you're choosing the 1950s, then look at elements from 1950 to 1955 or 1956 to 1959. So choose your kind of first 5 years or last 5 years to make it easier for you. Then you need to focus on either women's wear or men's wear, okay? Focus your research on a set of related classifications such as age, class, occasion, and occupation, okay? Then you need to include a range of key apparel items that's going to illustrate a variation in silhouette, proportion, and detail. And you also need to look at the key accessories of that time, okay? So your specifications then in Word, but I'll show you how the exemplar looks. Okay, so the typed element needs to be in Word, or you can do it in something like Google Docs if you don't have access to Word. So it needs to be A4 portrait, okay? Your text needs to be typed 12 points, single font style of your choice. As long as it's a readable font, it's fine, okay? A cover page, which includes a title and an image of your specific era, a one-page written introductory overview. Okay, so that introduction needs to tell me the social political context of that time, as well as any art and cultural movements during that period. Okay, a one-page written overview of key trends of that period. Okay, and that is where you can divide it up into age, into class, and into occasion, okay? Then apparel items. This is where you need to include images. So no less than 10 pages of images with supporting text. So the supporting text is, for example, if you include earrings, you can include a small description. What style was it? Why was it relevant? I'll show you guys in the exemplar. Okay, then key accessories, no less than 3 pages. That shows a range. So it's really important, and you guys will see in the marking rubric, you get marked on this. You need to try and find a variety. So say, for example, you chose in the 1960s, don't just include images of like shift dresses. I don't want to see only shift dresses. Show like a variety of items. Okay. So your key accessories, no less than 3 pages, range of head to toe items. This can include hair and makeup, okay? So apparel items, that's the clothing, key accessories, which can include hair and makeup. And then you need to find 2 contemporary fashion looks. That means like modern fashion looks that are inspired by your chosen period. Okay, and that is what we looked at last week, is how designers have kind of referenced the past in newer kind of collections. Okay, so that's your first section. Then your second section is looking at current trends, and this is very much WGSN, Vogue, all those kind of sites will benefit you. Okay, so for this section, you're required to research 2 contemporary collections from the WGSN Catwalk Gallery. I'll show you guys where that is just now, that you feel characterizes your personal fashion aesthetic. Okay, so what is your personal style? And you are going to find 2 different collections that kind of show me what your style is. Okay, you need to select a minimum, this is really important, a minimum of 6 looks per collection. And again, focus on a range of apparel items, okay? So think of it as a wardrobe. You're not going to just have 6 dresses. You might have a dress, a jacket, pants, a top. So I really want to have a broad overview of what it is from that specific collection that represents your personal style, okay? Then you need to include biographical information on each of the 2 designers or brands that you featured, and it must be structured chronologically, okay? So you need to start from the beginning. Where did the brand originate? Who started it? What was like the key developments or maybe awards? So you're very much writing it in a timeline fashion. You're not going to suddenly start with where's the brand now and then at the end kind of bring in where they started. It needs to make sense, okay? And guys, this is really, really important. You have to include references. Okay, there is a reference guide for you. I'll show you how that guide looks. If at any point you guys are struggling with the research, rather just notify me so that I can help you. Okay, instead of you kind of, you know, struggling. So there has to be separate referencing pages for each of the 2 research sections. So 1 reference page for section 1 and 1 reference page for section 2. Okay, and then these are just your kind of specific learning outcomes. So when we look at part A, okay, this is your marking rubric for part A. So you guys will see you get kind of marked in a range of 0 to 5. So obviously 0 is you've not submitted it, and 5 is all aspects of that exercise, you've completed it, you've kind of done what was asked of you, so creative and technical requirements are precisely met. Your workmanship, so that means, is the work completed neatly? Did you really put effort into it, or was it something that you kind of just rushed? And submission indicates consistently precise attention to formatting and presentation. So have you presented it neatly? So you guys can also use this to see what is coming. So lesson 1 was just the introduction to styling. Then lesson 2 was the career opportunities, and these were the 3 exercises we did. Lesson 3 was history. Lesson 4 was historical references, and then lesson 5, you're not going to get a mark here because there's a separate marking rubric. It's just so that you guys can kind of follow it. And then you'll see lesson 6, we're going to work with face shapes, 7 body shapes, until we end at lesson 12. Okay, so this is your marking rubric for part A of event 1. Okay. Then your marking rubric for part B is this one. So the first section is fashion history. So when you guys are doing the event, really look at your marking rubric and use this last section, because everyone is obviously geared towards achieving a 4 to a 5. I see it cut off here, so I'll just re-upload that for you. So make sure your introductory overview is coherent, concise, and precisely relevant to the period. If you are covering the 1960s, don't bring in elements of the 1920s and 1950s. Make sure it's focused on that era and that you are discussing social, political, art, and cultural influence. You guys can even divide that up into headings. Okay, so you're getting marked on that. Then overview of the trends. So what were the key trends during that time? Style influences have been significantly explained. So you can explain in the 60s, music was quite a massive. How did the Beatles or Jimi Hendrix or those kinds of people, and we covered style icons last week as well, how have they influenced that period and the fashion? Okay, and then your research focus. Okay, your research focus is clear, cohesive, according to the selected period and gender. So you focused on menswear or women's wear, and exploration is explicitly aligned to the categories. Have you discussed age, class, occasion, and occupation in kind of your training? So have you really followed what the brief has told you and kind of comprehensively explained that period? Okay, then you get marked on your apparel items, so your photos of that, your accessories, and then your contemporary fashion. Okay, so do all of these align, and is there a variation? That's why I emphasize the variation in silhouette, proportion, and detail. So you kind of really need to bring in a variety of items. You get marked on your quality of visuals. Were these good visuals? And did you meet the submission requirements? Okay, so did you really look at your layout? Is it neatly formatted? And then referencing. You have to have an image reference list and a website reference list. Okay, and when you guys are compiling this document, you cannot just copy and paste from the internet. You need to write the content in your own words, okay? So you cannot just go to a site and copy and paste a lot of things together. You have to rewrite it in your own words so that it is your own understanding coming through with the required referencing. Okay, so that is part B's marking rubric. Okay, part B, section 1, and then section 2 is the current trends. Okay, so collection 1, you've added 6 looks. There's a variety, again, in silhouette, proportion, and detail. You've got good quality visuals, and the minimum expectation are met, and it's professionally and creatively presented. And then the biographical information is significant and concise. So it's the same marking criteria for both collection 1 and 2. And then you also get marked on your cohesiveness of the research. So that just means, do the 2 collections include research that clearly illustrates a cohesive and contemporary personal aesthetic? So when you are choosing the 2 designers, does the 2 collections kind of have similarities in terms of communicating one kind of style? Or are they like not really matching up? The one is maybe bohemian and the one is very minimalist, so it's not really telling me what is your personal style. So you guys really need to do that visual research. Okay, and then this is just, again, your referencing. So you guys have access to the marking rubrics. Okay, and if anything's unclear, please just let me know, and we can either discuss it during these sessions or one-on-one or via email. Okay, then to show you guys what the exemplar looks like, I've uploaded this for you also to reference. So she did the early 60s. So this was her cover page. Okay, and then her work was really nicely explained. It was very comprehensive and concise. So this was her introduction, a quick overview of the history of the 60s. So what was really nice about this one is the fact that she divided it into these specific headings. So it made it easy to follow, that she kind of covered everything. So it's 1 page of the overview. So social political influence. And if you guys, like I said, really focus on the first half of that decade or the second half, because that will also help you not to be discussing a lot of things and keeping your research quite focused on what happened during those kind of 5 years. Okay, then here's an overview of the trends. So she divided it into hippie fashion, footwear, clothing items, dresses. Okay, so this was this written component. And then apparel items. Okay, so this is what I meant with like just a quick sentence on what is happening in that image. Okay, so she was saying cigarette pants from the 1964. It was a slim fit pants with high waist, shaped hip and fitted leg. So for each image, it was just like a quick description on what was happening there. And she had quite a variety of images. So these were all her apparel ones. I'm just quickly going to go through them. You guys have access to this document. Okay, then accessory items. Okay, so hair accessories, okay, kind of hairstyles. It was really well formatted document as well. The makeup, sunglasses, jewelry of that time, and then the contemporary looks. Okay, so this is from 2019. Kind of that shift dress and the print, you can easily relate it to the 60s and this as well. Okay, Louis Vuitton 2013. You can see a clear reference from the 60s even in the styling. Okay, and then this was her kind of reference list. The only thing that she didn't include was an image reference list where she was marked down on that. Okay, so please remember you need to include this as well as an image reference list, and I'll go through the referencing guide just now. So this is part B, section 1. Okay, then part B, section 2. This is where you guys have to do the kind of collection 1, collection 2, and discuss the designer's biographical information. Okay, so she did this section in PowerPoint. You guys are more than welcome to if you want to do a creative layout. You can see she had a variety of kind of images. And she included apparel items. And then this was the biographical information of this designer. So that was collection 1. And this was collection 2. And biographical information. The one thing on this is, and this is what I mean, I think there was a little bit of a disconnect between this collection and this one. Okay, this one is a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more pared down, and slight minimalist elements and interesting kind of asymmetrical detail. Where the second one was maybe a bit more, I don't know, hip hop inspired. So I like that whole concept of the kind of research focus. You need to make sure that there's a cohesive personal aesthetic. I do understand that you kind of use maybe or can have an eclectic style, that's fine, but then select designers that kind of show that, okay, if it's comprised of more than maybe one era or more than one influence. Okay, but it was neatly kind of formatted and included a variety of things. Okay, and then this was her reference list for this section. So the thing that the first section kind of missed was the image references. Okay, so I have, sorry, uploaded all of this for you guys. So let me just show you before I get to the questions where it is. Just open again. Okay, so on our course page, lesson 5, this is the brief. So if you guys kind of click on it, any of these, all the PDFs, the brief and the 2 marking rubrics, it will immediately open and you guys can just download it. Okay. So those are your kind of marking rubrics and the brief I went through. Then this folder, if you look inside the folder, that is the exemplar of the student that I kind of provided for you guys. So you can look at it just to get a kind of visual reference of what the document needs to look like. And then the last thing that I have included is the lies of referencing guide. Okay, so it looks like this, and it's a super comprehensive guide. You guys have to use it. Okay, so if you read through it, it explains exactly how you need to reference the various sources. Okay, just quickly gonna scroll to get an example. And there are examples in here for you. So there's like visual examples in terms of the formula, color coded in how you need to do it, plus for the various sources. Okay. So in-text citation, you guys need to do that as well. It explains that you have to have the surname, year, page number. So read through the document, make sure you understand that in-text referencing, and you'll see it in the exemplar as well. That's when you reference inside the document. Okay, needs to happen. And then there's examples for your referencing list. Okay, so how to use quotes, how to kind of reference internet sources. Here's your reference list. So the general format of that, how to deal with missing information. There's a specific way that you need to do that. And then this is where the image referencing comes in. Okay, so this is how your image reference list needs to look like. It needs to have the author's name, date, kind of the name of the photo and where you accessed it from. Okay, so everything is provided for you guys in order to kind of create a really comprehensive kind of event one, concisely written, well researched, well referenced. Okay, and then if we look at WGSN, so once you guys have sorted out some of you have said that you can access it. Okay, so all you need to do is then go in Moodle to the home page, and you can use any of these resources as well for articles on the 19, whatever era you choose. Okay, if you need written information. So all you'll do is you'll click on WGSN. Yvonne would have set up your login details. I'm already logged in, so it's not showing me that page. You guys can see here. And this is where you will find all your research. So if you choose women or men, you guys can go look at like trend reports if that's something of interest, and we'll use that in other activities and the second event. Categories, and then here's the research. So this is your catwalk gallery. So for the second, for section 2, part B, section 2, this is what you would use. Okay, so you guys can see all the designers are listed here. It's in terms of the latest collections. If you want to look at a specific season, okay, you can scroll here. But this is what you would use for the current trends, and trying to find 2 different designers and their collections that very much represents what your personal style is. Okay, so it's really important, if you haven't activated your WGSN account, that you do so. If you have issues, that you kind of just let me know, so I can email Yvonne and maybe CC you in. Okay, so guys, are there any questions with regards to this event? Anything that you feel is unclear? Like I said, you guys are more than welcome to go read through it, to think on it, and then let me know. But are there any questions that you kind of have right now? I'll give you guys a minute to just think. Okay, guys, no questions. Okay, guys, so event 1, like I said, it's due on the 19th of December, but as with all activities, don't leave it till the last minute. Okay, really try and kind of pace yourself to maybe do specific sections. If you guys want to, I can set up a timeline for you to help you pace yourself, okay, in Excel, and link you guys to that. But yeah, for tomorrow, have lesson 2, 3, and 4's activities completed, and then you guys can start with event 1. Okay, I'll check in with you every week as well on how it's going. If you guys have questions, anything that we can discuss. And then event 2 will only be briefed later on. You guys also have a photo shoot activity. So if you look at the marking rubric for the course activities, you'll see in lesson 10, there's a photo shoot activity that we're going to do, and that counts quite a lot towards your activity marking, marks at the end. Okay. So are there no questions?
Deandra?
Yes.
Yes, so I was just thinking for the briefing of event 1, there's a
Yeah.
part where it says 6 looks.
Yes.
I don't remember the question, yes, but does it mean that we have to like look for 6 different looks, or we can put like a dress as one look and a jacket as the other, or?
Yeah, so just to show you again, Joy. So yes, you're definitely looking at a variety. I'm just gonna use her first one was quite. So these are the 6 looks. This is for this part B, section 2. Okay, where you have to find the 2 collections. So this was the designer that she selected. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 looks. Okay, and then she included apparel items as an extra as well. But you guys can see there's somewhat of a variety in terms of dresses, pants. So you really kind of, like the brief said, you want to approach it as a wardrobe. So if you're thinking about your wardrobe, what would you kind of include to create a comprehensive wardrobe? You wouldn't just have 6 dresses. You'll have pants, a top, a jacket. So you guys really need to carefully curate the designer and collection that you select. Does that answer your question, Joy?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
Deandra, sorry, with the 6 looks, can you also do a mix and match where I take the jacket and wear it with the pants and then the pants again with a shirt or something like that?
Yeah, that would be kind of, so the photos that you select would together, if I look at them all together, Cynthia, I would need to kind of get that idea that, okay, this jacket you can mix and match with elements. As long as you guys just don't have a collection, some designers will have a collection that only has dresses, but that's for a very specific reason. So don't choose that collection. Choose something where there's a variety of items.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, guys, so that is it. You have time now today to start working on this. Like I said, if you guys start reading and you have questions, send me an email. We can discuss it next week, or I can find a time to have a one-on-one chat with you. Okay. So for
Deandra, I will appreciate it if you can ask Yvonne to email or send me the email to.
Yes.
Yes, and then I will start, but then I might write to you to set up timeline for me because now I'm so behind.
Okay. Cynthia, I think for you, before you start with this event, I think start with the activity. So start with lesson 2. Look at those activities, and just to show you, let me just again share. So the whole page is set up. These things you won't be able to see. You guys can see them now because this is my login, but from a student side, you guys will only see what I make available. So Cynthia, start with lesson 2. Any of these ones that have like this little icon, those are your activities. So you'll click on it, and it will tell you you need to use these resources, and this is what you need to complete. And then the resources are available at the bottom, and this is your submission link. So if you just click on that, it will take you to my OneDrive, and you can drag and drop your work in here. Okay. Sorry, I'm not signed in now, so it's not opening. But you can drop and drag it in there. They do have time limits on them, so I'll go and open those for you. But I think, Cynthia, for you, before you kind of start with event 1, just start with lesson 2, 3, and 4 and complete those activities. The submission links are these ones. They've got a little link. This little page one is the activity. So most lessons have like 1, 2, 3 activities. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, most of them have about 3 activities that you need to complete. So I think just start with those before you start with the event.
Okay, because I've started with lesson 1, but I did not submit it, and because I was not sure whether you even received the getting to know you form that I've
No,
sent.
that I did. No, those I can see. I did receive those if you clicked on the link and completed it. But I'll quickly go open all these links because some of them have time limits. But everyone else, again, pace yourself to be done with lesson 4 by tomorrow. Cynthia, I'll give you a little bit of extra time. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. So that's it. I am going to check my email throughout the day. So if you guys have questions today, please do send them through. Otherwise, during the week, I'll respond quite quickly to email. Okay, so rather send me an email. Like I said, I can always set up in the week when it suits both of us or all of us, a extra kind of chat session if you need it. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Good luck with the event. Please work hard. Use the resources that I've provided you, and please ask if something's not clear.